Welcome to Book Babble. I'm Dustin, and today I'm here to talk about the books that I read in January. January was a really good month for me reading-wise. I ended up reading 5 books, listening to 1 audiobook, and 4 graphic novels. The first one I really enjoyed was One Summer, America 1927 by Bill Bryson. There was a lot of really amazing, interesting things that happened just in that one summer. You had people like Babe Ruth making a name of himself, Henry Ford was starting to crank out all those automobiles, Charles Lindbergh flew to Paris on the Spirit of St. Louis. It was just a lot of really interesting things in the book. Things that I had heard about before, things I hadn't, like Henry Ford, who created an entire village called Fordlandia in South America. The first book that I'm going to be talking about right now is Weird Thing Customers Read in Bookstores by Jen Cambell. This is something I have heard a lot about on BookTube already. Jen Cambell actually does have a BookTube channel now herself, and I really wanted to read this one because of what I do for a living. I work in a bookshop, and I've had some very interesting conversations with people. The nice thing about this book is it really shows that I'm not alone. If you have worked in a bookshop or really want to, or you just want a really fun read, I highly recommend Jen Cambell's Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops. The next one, I'm so excited that I got an early advanced copy through work. It is Shrewed, a wry and closely observed look at the lives of women and girls by Elizabeth Renzetti. This one, House of Anansi Press sent to work, and I picked up the ARC. This one comes out in March, and I know that this book is going to be something that I recommend time and time again. I think it is so important for people to read feminist literature, especially men, because there's a lot of things in this book that when I read it, I was shocked. I think that's part of the problem, is that men just don't get it. We don't live it, so we don't understand what is going on in the world, and it is really super scary. 90% of my friends are female, and I do worry about them. I very much worry about the world that they live in, and that is part of the reason why I identify myself as a feminist. The next one was a birthday present for me. My birthday was in January, and the book that my parents got me was Worry Free Money by Shannon Simmons. This one I found really intriguing. She has a fresh approach about money. I think that more people would have bigger successes dealing with their own personal finances by taking her approach. The next one I picked up on a whim in a secondhand bookstore. It is Leadership Lessons from Star Trek The Next Generation by Wess and Bill Ross. Like I said, I picked this one up because it was just a really wacky, zany concept. The thing I really loved about this one is their approach, talking about leadership. You know, the lessons that they talk about, the things that they've learned from the episodes is nothing new. You know, it talks about communication, talks about teamwork. I just really appreciated the approach behind it. I do read a lot of business books for work, just as my own personal development, and I always am drawn to books that have really fun approaches, and this one definitely fits that to a T. So essentially what they do is they take an episode of the show, they give you a little brief synopsis, and then they go, these are the things that Captain Picard garnered from them. And the last book that I want to talk about today, I am so excited for. Full disclosure, the good folks over at Harper Collins sent me a finished copy early through work. They didn't ask for a review, but I will be doing one because this book is just absolutely phenomenal. The book in question is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This book is just so phenomenal. Originally when they were talking about it, before it came out, they had mentioned to me that it's very Hitchcockian, and they knew that it was going to be something that I would really like. And they hit the nail on the head on this one. It is a fantastic thriller. The main character has agoraphobia, so she can't leave her house. So instead, she just watches her neighbors through the window, and, you know, things happen. So if you do decide to pick this one up, I would carve out a good chunk of time because you are not going to want to put this one down. I kid you not, I stayed up till 3:30 in the morning one night to finish reading it because I just couldn't put it down. This book was full of homages to Rear Window. They throw in a whole bunch of classic movie references, and I was just enjoying the journey. This is one that I don't think will disappoint you. I think that it's not really predictable. It has a really nice payoff at the end, and I think that if you do pick it up, you're going to have a fun time. Now I'm going to be talking about the graphic novels that I read. The first one that I read was Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. And honestly, I don't know. I am such a Marvel fan. I find DC hard to read. I just find that it's a lot darker than what I'm used to in the Marvel side of things, and this one was a struggle. This one I did really struggle with. It is really dark. It is very, very dense with dialogue. It took me quite a while to get through. I know a lot of people really, really love Frank Miller, and especially really love this book of his. There was nothing super wrong with it, other than it just wasn't my cup of tea. The next one that was my cup of tea was Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, A Spoon Too Short, by David Kryiazis and Kirchhoff. There is some fun little homages to Douglas Adams in the story. There's Marvin the Robot, and there's a little Fourth Doctor. The graphic novel's fantastic. The original books are fantastic. If you're looking for something fun and zany, give it a go. The next one that I read was Saga, Volume 8. Saga, if you haven't heard about it, is sort of a Romeo and Juliet in space with aliens, and it is just absolutely brilliant. Every single volume of this is just getting better and better. The last graphic novel that I read was Harley Quinn and Power Girl. And you know the thing that I said about DC Comics being really dark and mysterious, and I really didn't like it? Well, this one. This one was so much different. This one was actually really fun. They get transported into another dimension, and hilarity ensues. That's probably the easiest way to describe this one. The art is fantastic. The story is just really fun and zany, and I just really had a good time. So those are all the books that I read in January. I'd love to know if you've read any of these guys. What was your favorite book that you read in January? Let's have a conversation down below. So from me to you, I hope your day is just tickety-boo. I'll see you soon.